Hey, well, I got some exciting news for the Neat AI trading bot for BTC. We kind of made this thing where it'll not just predict and train on the past data, but what it'll do, it'll forecast out kind of like a hurricane chart, right? Where it kind of, if it's a bull trend, if it's a breakout, if it's a bear trend, if it's a pump and dump, and like how is it going to trade if all these scenarios happen? And this is actually instead of using Monte Carlo or whatever it is actually a neural network that predicts forward in time based on what it has learned in the daily candle all the way down to like I believe it should be the 1 minute, but uh, but as of right now, I think we're on maybe the 320 minutes, so maybe 3 hours, is it 6 hours? 6 hours, I think. And as we get further down to 1 minute and trends down to that point, then we'll be able to have that 1 minute data. But what's cool is that once it projects, it'll say, hey, how do I trade these scenarios? Do I get in, get out? Oh, no, it's refreshing now as it's doing its thing here. So, this is cool too. This is just so it's kind of still generating refreshing. So as it learns to kind of tweak these a little better, it's like okay, this is gonna be negative 4,000. That's negative 6,000. That's 6,000. So let's kind of like run it through and just keep training. And as it trains and gets an update, it'll flash and update this on how it was. And I think we had mostly greens, but I think maybe this gen was not as good as it was because I was trying to tweak some other things. And so you can kind of see, based on certain random walks, some flash recovery, how it would trade and how it would profit over time. So this is still very new. I don't know what's gonna hold true, but it's called daydreaming, where after you train your weights, you never lock your weights down, and it's constantly training and updating those weights into that forward in time, and it also looks back in time, and so it daydreams what it did and say how could I have done that better, and then also not just how could have done this better, what's gonna be coming up in forward in time based on where we are at. Of course, you won't have like something drastic like a plunge down to zero. It's gonna trade within a certain range based on hurricanes, right? Like it's at this location. It's not gonna appear in China all of a sudden. It has to start where it is, and it has to kind of move a certain direction based on its velocity. Maybe so we have like velocity, acceleration, and whatever point in time, and also, since it's kind of a wave in the sense there's angular velocity, there's momentum, there's wavelength and whatnot, that is going to predict based on where it is already, and then how that energy decays over time. It'll measure how it decays, and it'll pop back up, and then it'll decay again, pop back up, and so that's kind of what it kind of models forward in time based on its current speed or whatever kind of thing. So there's a little bit of physics in there. You kind of call it. Just kind of how a hurricane moves is moving at a certain speed. You can kind of project that it's going to arrive at a certain time, and that's kind of what the gist of it. And then when that happens, well, depending on how it's going to go, how are we going to trade this? So we're going to exit quickly. We're going to wait to here before we drop. Maybe you could have dropped a little earlier, or maybe we didn't catch it fast enough. But I guess you kind of see how it's online. So these are all, in a sense, 12-hour. I believe it's 12-hour. I need to make sure that I see a candle here. Every 12 hours, it has an update. It has an update. That's why it kind of like, if it drops too fast before it hits the update, then that way it doesn't trade noise or whatnot. So this is every candle update. So that's how it's aligning, and based on where it is, it'll do this. This will be a carry C from the long, so it kind of was originally a long position, and then an up arrow would be long entry, a short would be short entry, a red, or it'll do a flip. So it would just completely swap its position from long to short. So this will be long to short here. Sorry for the flash. It kind of happens. I need to kind of keep it from flashing. This is when there's an update, it'll flash, I believe. So it'll flash, it'll flip, and it'll go like, oh, maybe it's going. So it got confused. It flips again, and then it exits and whatnot. So there's a little bit of kind of thing when it keeps flipping too much. Yes, you're gonna hit a big loss here. Sometimes when it's sideways, it is worth the flip back and forth. You can still gain this is at 50x leverage. I don't know if it can change the leverage. I mean, it can change the leverage if you wanted to. Here, this is long. It'll flip, and it messed up here, but eventually it gets it right, and then maybe closes the order, and then longs again. So that's kind of what it does. And it just adds this up and tells me at the end of the day um, what 13 out of 20 scenarios are profitable, 65%, based on this champion. So if it's any one of these, so it's gonna keep iterating on this and try to improve it so that it can handle all scenarios. But so far so good, and we'll kind of see if it kind of continues here 13 to 12. So I don't know if it's just maybe just small little tweaks that's just refreshing. But anyways, it's really exciting stuff that it's building, and eventually I'm going to try to animate some of the stuff so that you can kind of see a little bit in time as it trades. So you kind of maybe layer in on one scenario and see how it trades up and down, and then see how it can tweak and improve what it just did. So sometimes like this might be better, if it drops really hard, real fast, it might benefit from a shorter time frame. Maybe take that loss a little earlier or something like that. Who knows? But as of right now, we are out of a position. It was in for a little bit. I mean, I'm only trading, $10 right now, just kind of letting it learn and grow. So every 12 hours it'll update and go from there. So this is kind of like the date share 3:30. So around 12. Oh, that looks like it's trading a lot faster than that, huh? So this is one candle. So this might be a 6 hour candle. So there's like four trades in here. So that might be what it is. 6, 12, or it could be a 4 hour candle, right? One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, I'm guessing between 6 hours to 3 hours, maybe between there, as it's trading every 36 hours. It might be a 4 hour. I don't know the exact candle, but I'll make sure it gets printed so I kind of know exactly what candle it's trading on, and I can see the time sets on how it's changing. All right, all right. Well, stay up to date. I will keep you updated. Follow, subscribe. Talk then. Bye.